Okay, I think we're streaming now. All right, let's go again.
Wait, are you sure? It says upcoming.
Okay, I think
Oh,
we're streaming now. All right, great.
great.
All right, let's go again.
Wait, are you sure? Yeah.
Okay, we're streaming. Okay, so let's start again. Welcome to the stream. My name's Lee. This is Ross. We are talking about we're talking about using LLMs to help us code faster, and the application I've been working on is Haps. It's a happy hour directory. We're scraping bar and restaurant websites to get happy hours and put them in a directory so you can get drunk with your friends cheap. Right now, the topic we're talking about today is we're using Aider to as our LLM programming assistant, and I've been using NeoVim, the NeoVim plugin for Aider, which allows me to automatically add files to Aider context by just adding and removing buffers. But I've found that this to be a pain in the ass because one, like, I just inevitably miss a file that I want to add into context, and also it's also just it's insufficient. It's a pain in the ass sometimes. I either have too many files that I have to like go individually like kind of snipe these buffers, or again, I'm just missing something. It's just not a very fast way to manage context within Aider. So the idea is using some combination of like grep or ACK or whatever, and then also summarizing the architecture of the application into files that we can then give to the LLM, to either, like, whether we're building command line tools to automatically add these files, or just saying like, hey, here are the files you want to add, and letting Aider do it. I'm not sure. So is that Ross a fair summary of what we're trying to do?
I think so. The one thing I want to add is that Aider inherently has something called repo maps that we have found is lacking, particularly in existing code bases when you want to manage and minimize the amount of context to minimize cost. We're both working on apps that are kind of similar, and we both started off with Jumpstart, a Rails template that includes a lot of code. And so when we originally tried to use Aider with this and had a repo map, the repo map was garbage. It just had a whole bunch of code that we didn't necessarily need to send along with every request. And we also just want to limit the cost and limit the back and forth to also to Lee's perspective of like losing context and everything. Some people don't see that as a bad thing, and they're just like gonna incur that cost. They're gonna be like, well, I'll just send a request off and it'll tell me what file I'm missing, and then I add that file and then I do it. But really that's incurring like an extra LLM cost that's probably not necessary in the long run if you are gathering context well and correctly.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so where do we want to start? Do we want to like just kind of pick some feature and then sort of like drive out the tooling that way? You have a better idea? What do you want to do?
I think so. I think you So the question is how we want to approach this. Do we want to try and add like module or architectural tags, or create an architecture document for HAPS currently?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I tend to think if we approach it that way, I'm a little bit concerned that it will not necessarily align with just real working kind of flow. If we drive it through like the development, like maybe we pick two types of features, one that's just like dealing with the models and the sort of like domain model, if you will, and one that's like actually through the UI. Like I want to make a a page change, which might involve a controller change and using the underlying models. Does that make sense? Like pick one of
Yeah,
each and then try it? I don't know.
Yeah, I think trying it and trying to modify how it's dealing with the context as we go is probably works better.
Okay. Um, so, like, there's a couple things we could do. Like, a couple things I have in mind. If we wanted to do something that's like all the way full stack, right? We've talked about using maybe comments or something like that as a way for users to actually like make changes to these happy hours. We could do something like, okay, we just want to add comments, right? And that's going to involve, full stack changes. Um, the other one, like this one's a little tricky. I don't want to get into anything too tricky. Um, yeah, I mean, we could start with that one and just see how we go, and then
Add comments. Yeah.
yeah, I want to do that.
Yeah, let's try that.
All right, so I'm gonna get rid of. Get rid of you. I'm just gonna open up a whole new tab so we can switch fast. Blow this up. And so I guess the first thing is how do I just type Aider? I've never even opened Aider like this. Okay, cool. So right now we have just our conventions file, which I don't even know if it has anything. Nothing. Okay. And then we have our lessons file. And so that's all we have in context. So let's just run, let me pull over this guy. And so there's two, like right now I'm thinking that the feature is you can comment on a specific happy hour, and that also gets associated with a venue. And then if you're on the venue page, then you're seeing like all the comments for all the happy hours. And if you're on the happy hour page, you just see the comments for the happy hour. Does that make sense?
Okay.
So right now this is like a venue page. It's ugly. And this is like a happy hour page, right?
All right. So currently you just want to add it to the happy hour page for the or the are you adding it to the venue page, the happy hour page, or both? And then are you also adding any indication on the index view of the venues?
So I mean, we can just pick whatever right now because this isn't like a MVP feature really. It's going to be something I'm going to really work on after launch, but really I just want sort of like any feature to like just test this out. So we can just say simply add comments to the venue page.
All right, sounds good.
Okay, so there's a venue page, and again, venue is bar or restaurant, and this is the page. So, how do we want to start? Like, how do we want to like prompt this thing?
Yeah, I think obviously I think you should add some amount of files that you think are appropriate. So I think like obviously this view file you should add.
Yeah.
Uh, and that's the thing.
So, yeah. Sorry. Finish the thought.
I think you do want to try and add everything in context, and you maybe want to turn on ask mode or architect mode or something, and see if it can make the changes with all of the context that you give it. And if it can't, you expand it. Yeah, because I mean the main question is like, do you want to improve the context gathering or do you want to like build the feature? And if we're doing the context thing, are we using just this feature to drive out trying to improve the context?
Let me see if I understand the question. Like, well, I guess I'm not sure. Like, ultimately, we just want to do a feature, right? Like, ideal situation is I just describe what I want to do, and the thing does it, right? knowing what Aider is good at and the limitations, like to me, it sort of feels like the way to back into this is to get is for us to still control context, right? In a way that's like whether we script it or whether we pre-prompt it just to one gather the context, and then we tell it what to do once it has the context. But I'm open to whatever you think is more efficient here.
Yeah. All right. So if our goal is to get the feature out, then I think, and maybe we test some things with gathering context.
Because like, okay, I can think about this like the mechanics, and maybe I'm thinking about the mechanics too much, but like one thing we know we can do, right, is we can so let's see the use case here of I am adding a full stack feature. What context do I need? I need, it's interesting because it's actually like two different scenarios here where we're like creating something new, and that's the case we're dealing with now, right? But we want to associate that with a venue, so that's really the only hook there.
Yeah.
So we're, yeah, go ahead.
If we had an existing context management system, we would be like, we're adding comments to venues using the venue module as context. Right, venue module as context. And so we want to gather all context related to venue, particularly probably on the view side, but you need the model too because it's going to be attached to a venue.
Right. So yeah, because that's a little more, it's interesting because that's a little more like, it's a little more straightforward, but you're actually like just doing more potentially generation of like, you know, the comment model, and really we've talked about this database migration, which is kind of interesting, but as opposed to I want to change something and I might need to like grep around the code base for like references or something like that, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, we could, it's interesting because we do have, like, there is a feature in Aider to just add like get like the, like basically what's dirty, like basically the get modified files, right?
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure there's a feature for that, right? So I'm just kind of following that clue a little bit. I wonder if like in this particular scenario, do you want to like just scaffold a model? Because at that point, I mean, whether I'm running a Aider command or I'm running a Rails command, like I can go ahead and like scaffold a model and then just like add the get diff, like the, what's this called? Aider get, it's like get integration in chat commands. We'll show the file since your last message. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like there is a
It's in the configuration, maybe, or what you're thinking about with the dirty. It'll allow, I think maybe you're mixing it up, and
because there is, well, I mean, like if I look at invem Aider, right? So there is, and maybe we can just look up what this is calling, but there is a,
and maybe this is just particular to this.
right, but it's add all get modified files to the Aider chat. So leader AM, what the hell is that calling? Aider add modified files. Let's search it.
I bet you this just iterates through and it doesn't do anything.
Let's see, Aider Lua.
Aider add modified files.
Yeah, isn't that what I'm in?
What?
see. I don't know Lua very well, but let's see. Aider open, Aider deferred function, Aider modified files. I don't know. Do you see it? And sorry, what were you were saying something? What were you saying?
If you go to the configuration, go to the example configuration.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you have it inside, and then
Aider config. Okay.
and just search dirty, because I feel like,
Uh,
yeah, enable commits when repo is found dirty. I know that this is all the get settings.
yeah.
Uh,
Let's see. Auto commits, Aider ignore,
no.
sanity check. See it, but like. Give me a
Yeah, I
second.
think this might be particular to the NeoVim plugin.
Okay. Um. Anyway, we could certainly ask Claude to script us up something to do this, right? I just feel like it's pretty handy. Anyway, let's pause for 1 second. Like, is this an interesting approach, right? The ability to like run Rails scaffold commands on something and then basically say add all new files to Aider context.
Yeah. Add all new file. Yeah, I think so. I think it's worth it. If the NeoVim plugin has it, I think that it's probably worth it. I mean, this comes down to something that I really wish Aider had, which has the run command and the load command, but not one that kind of does both, because it's almost like you could create a small script that you run
Mm-hmm.
that just grabs all your files that are modified and not committed,
Mm-hmm.
and then create a small list of commands that just says slash add each of those files. But there isn't something in Aider that does both of those together. So you'd have to break it into two commands. You break it into a run command that runs the, hey, I'm gonna grab all of that stuff. And then a load command that, like, do you see where I'm getting at? Like, you run a command, it creates a file that just lists all of the files that are edited.
Yeah.
And so that then you can run load on that.
Right, because the load. Remind me what load does in Aider. That's just pointing to a file with like, what is the syntax of that file?
Yeah, so the load one is just running commands as if you're inside Aider. So you started an Aider instance, so you have access to slash ask, slash, slash load, slash add, slash drop, slash reset. Like, you have access to all of those commands.
Yeah, yeah, I got you. And so I see what you're saying now, because you can run. It's basically like you could call a command through run, but you don't have like the context. You don't have like a reference to get back and run like commands in Aider, because the only
Okay.
like the result of the run is just like whatever the system standard output is, and then you can just add that in the context, and that's all you get, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So you could look up, like, how does Aider, what does Aider add do?
Yeah.
And then, like, match the output, but that also isn't, like, that's not going to stay compatible in the long run. If they ever changed how they, like, when you run add file name, what does Aider do in the back end? If we reverse engineered that and made the script do that,
Right.
then if Aider ever changed, it would break the script. Whereas if you do a combination of just like producing Aider commands and then loading those Aider commands, it would work.
Right. Right. Okay, that's
So
interesting.
I think we do test drive here's an interesting thought.
Okay.
We test drive, or at least get Claude to write a small script,
Mm-hmm.
and the script is just a file watching script, and you have like just a dot aider commit load file that this file watcher just automatically keeps up to date.
With what's dirty.
Yeah, with what's dirty. So
Yeah.
you never have to run a command explicitly.
Mm-hmm.
All you do is load that file.
Yeah. 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 That's interesting. And
So just,
yeah, go ahead.
yeah, so I was thinking, just ask Claude, be like, hey, can you create a small file watching script that produces like that for every file that is dirty in the commit history, create a line that says slash add that file.
That's interesting. And so for everything that's dirty, so something's dirty. So we have a process that's running. It's watching the Git history. Whenever anything's dirty, it adds it to this file. So it's basically just like adding and removing stuff from the, or recreating the, like a load script.
Yeah, here it's just
That's
creates
dirty. Yeah,
having like yeah,
I like
keeping up
that.
to date a load script.
Yeah, I like that. I kind of want to just throw this in Claude really quickly and just be like, how the hell is this doing this?
Yeah, that's fine.
And just see. Let's start a
We're
new
missing
one.
something.
Yeah, just see. Make sure there's nothing built in. How is this Aider Neo Vim plugin? Um, what? I just want to look at the command. This is modified. Let's see. How is the Aider modified command working in this NeoVim Aider?
To add, say it, to add all dirty files.
Files into Aider context. Let's see what it says. Can you see that?
Yeah, it calls get modified files. Yeah. And then sends an ad for that file name. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So there is nothing built in. They're just
Yeah. Okay. So, right. So I like what you're saying. So we and load. Can I call load? I can just call. Okay, so I can just call load and load a file, right?
yep.
Okay. So what we want to do
And
is
the other nice thing, you could even in config,
Mhm.
there even is a load config that you could add this file name. So if you just just hit Aider enter and
Mhm.
it's pulling in that config, it could pull in all the dirty automatically
Yeah. Okay.
without you even running it.
All right. So walking through the prompt here, we want to basically take what it's learned from this and create some sort of like watch.
Yeah. Create a file watching script. In do we want it in Bash or should we just do it in Ruby because we're working in Ruby? Create a file watching script that we can run and for any Git repository.
Yeah.
It will create a file.
Mm-hmm.
What do we want to name it? .8 or something so that it's not
Dot,
in Git, like it's Git ignored. .8 or
Yeah.
.load Git or something, or like
Load get dirty.
or no, just maybe .8 or .get dirty, because you would call load on this, and it would be load .8 or .get dirty, you know?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay, so it'll create a file .8 or .get dirty where all
Mm-hmm.
dirty files have a line slash add file.
Uh,
File name,
yeah,
file path, file
file
path.
path. Okay, so create a file watching script that we can run.
In the background, run in the background and maybe continuously run in the background. Maybe that's enough. It
Can
understand.
continuously
Yeah.
run in the background, and for any and let's see, maybe this is like monitor can watching script that can continuously run in the background and monitor um, get is it dirty, get modified files, um, adding
Dirty
each
is the word that you want.
here dirty.
Yeah, because that's literally like the get term for something that is modified but not in the get ignore and can be added.
Okay. Okay, great. Create a file watching script that we can continuously run in the background and monitor get dirty files. The script should add and remove
Yeah.
dirty files. Should add dirty files to aider.getDirty, where all dirty files have a line add. The script should also remove any files from .aider.getDirty that are no longer dirty.
Yeah.
Something
This is
like
gonna
that.
be how it does this. Yeah, because it's either gonna, I think it needs to poll because I think technically you could do file watching for the add,
Mm-hmm.
but for the remove, you can't do file watching because nothing changes. What changes is the get database, so to speak,
Yeah.
the get object store for
Yeah.
when it changes from a dirty to a clean state once you commit.
Right. Well, I
You know
mean,
what I mean?
yes. I mean, I'm kind of curious. Is this like just continuously running like get status and then like parsing out the file names?
It
And
might be.
yeah,
That's like let's run this, see what it comes back with. If it comes back with file watching, I'm going to be skeptical as to whether it'll work with the remove.
yeah. Okay. And do we want to specify Bash, Ruby, something like that, or just let it, dealer's choice?
You could get something like Lua because you have Lua in the
It's-
context, and I don't know
we don't want
Lua.
it in Lua.
Anything but Lua.
Anything but Lua. That's
You don't
pretty
want
funny.
Node either, do you?
No, no, no.
Like this is something where you almost would want Python, Ruby, or Bash,
Right.
kind of, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Let's just see what it does, and then we'll have it rewrite if it's in
It's gonna write
Lua.
it Lua.
Dash.
Oh,
Okay.
Bash. Okay.
Cool.
Oh, is it gonna watch a particular get file? That would be really smart, actually.
Let's. Oh, look,
Oh,
it's
it's
doing it.
doing it in everything. It's like, here, we thought you might want Python just in case, because so many people are like, I bet you so many people, when you get a bash script, are like, no, I want it in
Right.
Python.
That's
All right,
funny.
let's just look at the either of them. It doesn't matter.
I don't. I'm always like my Python environments are all screwed up. I don't
Yeah, yeah.
know the
No, no, no.
virtual Python tools systems that
See,
well.
2 seconds between checks. Get dirty, log file, verbose, true. So yeah, it is definitely polling. Get
Let's.
ls files modified. So this is one of those things where it's like, if we're running it, do we really want it 2 seconds? 2 seconds is a long time if you ran a command and then we're like, or modified a file and you want it in there.
Yeah, but I mean, I still need to have to type load X, right? And so I don't know. I'm kind of weighing the weighing the chance that like it is modifying like the race condition of like it's modifying the file as Ader's executing it. So I almost want to. I don't know. That's the only thought I have on that subject.
Oh, it's modifying as. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But the second you load it, yeah, and if it's in the get ignore, but no, this all looks reasonable because
So
it's just to do the polling.
this file's modified other. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. And then how are we? Is it recreating this file or so this is for everything in here, we are echoing that into the file. That makes sense. And then how are we getting like
Yeah, that's not. How are they removing?
yeah, how are we
And what is that map file dash T?
I don't know what that does. Um let's see. So get the current dirty files. Create a temporary file. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we should ask it to walk us through this script.
Wait, replace the old file with the new content. Check if content has changed. How is it if CMP temp file?
Oh, interesting.
It's just doing it based on count? Let's look at the Python implementation. I
Yeah.
don't like that it's using a couple of tools that I'm not familiar with.
Okay.
Same thing is git repro, just checks.
Mm-hmm. Get dirty. So same thing. Get ls files modified. Um, update dirty file. Okay. So we're gonna. So we have an array of all the ads. Um, prepare new content. New content.
If content is same, don't do anything. If it's not right, and then it logs. I feel like you could just remove the logging capabilities.
Yeah. You want to go with the Python? See if it works,
Yeah,
or what do you think?
yeah. Let's just double check. Does it say anything? So look, scroll down on the left-hand side to see. They say using Python. Yeah, make it executable and run it in the background. All right. You can just watch interval at the top, and at the top, does it also do the file name? So you set the file names?
Um,
No, at the top of the script.
oh,
Yeah.
get
So that's where
dirty.
you set the file name
Yeah. Okay.
and the log file, which again, whatever.
Yeah. Um, all right.
Just you could just ask it to remove logging. It will simplify it a lot.
Okay.
Even longer? No.
All right. Should we try it?
Yeah, yeah.
All
Do it.
right. What am I gonna call this? This is.
Because this is something that normally would probably have taken like a couple of hours worth of work. Maybe an hour, maybe 2 hours to just like do.
Yeah. Yeah. So PB paste into what do we want to call this? This is Ader get watcher. Ader get watcher.
What are
Dot.
you putting? Are you putting this in the directory or somewhere else?
I'm just dropping it in the root of the project right now.
Okay. Because you're gonna want to add this to like the get ignore or something.
Yeah, I could um, add the script to the get ignore or add. Yeah. Okay. We'll deal with that in a second. Um, okay.
Because this is like a system-wide utility that you want.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. Well, let's just see if it's working.
Yeah, yeah.
So let's run it. Let's just run it here. Okay. So let's open up a new window.
Okay, so you didn't run it in the background, you just ran it. So
Yeah, just so we can.
All right.
I
That's
guess it's not
better.
putting anything out at this point. So we have one file. If we cat aider get dirty, that's cool. All right, so let's scaffold something up, right? Oh, I see what you're saying because it's added itself. Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So you add it to the get ignore, and then you got to commit the get ignore because the get ignore will now show up in the context.
Right. I could just rename if I
Just add it to a level below.
like if I just called this dot aider dot get watcher pi for now, it's ignored.
Okay.
And so now I can say
Process should still be running.
dot. I killed that dot. Sorry, ls dot aider dot get dirty. No, shit. Hold on. ls dot aider didn't I? Oh, there it is. Dot aider dot dash get watcher. So now I can just run. Sorry, what am I doing? Just
Dot slash dot.
dot slash dot dot slash dot. There we go. Okay. All right. Cool. So now let's.
So if you scaffold something,
Yeah. So let's do bin rails scaffold model comment, where comment has a message, right? And
yes.
what's that?
Yeah, and a reference.
Yeah, and so this is like a venue reference. Is it reference or references? I can never remember. I'll find out.
Yes, I think it's a references.
References. And then let's see a user references. I don't know. Maybe a couple things. Maybe it's like I want to have. We can come back to this. Maybe this is a good one for like I want to modify. Maybe we just start with that and see how we go.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, because if it has most of the code, and you're even sending along the migration, it can modify the migration.
Yeah, yeah. Rails G scaffold.
Rails just G
Uh,
and deletes.
oh,
No, no,
right.
no.
Yeah, yeah.
Folders.
Rails
No,
G.
no, no. Do you just want the model or do you want the full scaffold?
I think I just want the model because we want to modify the views that we already have.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. That makes sense.
Okay, cool. So now, what's our aider get dirty? Look at that.
Right, perfect. All right. So also just go ahead and delete your. No, it didn't add a helper. I thought for some reason it adds helpers.
Yeah, I think that's just if you get the views, but I agree. All right. So now, what we really want here is first, let's run aider.
So
Load dot.
okay, wait. Now this is the real meta thing. Do you want to add that to the config file so it automatically loads your dirty on when you just hit aider?
Well, though, I think you have to do it. I think you're gonna have to continuously do it, right? I guess maybe because you're saying then you can just like run the command and have it exit.
Yeah, you could do aider dash dash message, give it a message,
Right.
and it'll just go ahead and load the file and run it.
Yeah. Okay, let's come back to that. I'm not
All
sure.
right.
I think it's interesting because then I don't have a continuous session with Aider. I'm just like running like Aider with the things. It does the thing and exits.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It might not even exit. It might just drop you in, or you might be able to have it just drop you in after the
Yeah.
fact. It's also nice too if you're just like, hey, I want to fire. And it's nice for firing off a fresh session too.
Right. Right. Yeah. Totally. Okay. We'll come back to that. So load, and now I have all that in context. That's great.
Nice. Perfect.
Okay.
Perfect. I like this. I need to add this to my Aider now.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally. No, you already have access to the repo, so you could just pull it out. Oh no, it's ignored. All right, we'll figure that out. So now, because I don't have a ton of time left, I have to take the kids somewhere. But I want to see if this will work. If we can actually get this to do the thing. So we don't have the views in context.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So we've done the dirty thing. This is great, right? Because this allows us to lean on Rails scaffold, or just Rails generators in general, and then add all that into context. But how do we get the views that we care about in context, and I guess the controllers too, right? All that.
Yeah. So that's the hey, we might need some get stuff. Or do we so here I'm thinking of two different opportunities.
Yep.
One is leaning on Aider, two is creating kind of a tagging system. If we lean on Aider, Aider is still missing something because we turned off repo maps.
That's right. Yeah.
So what I would say is if we want to lean on Aider, the next thing we want to do is create another small little tool like this
Mm-hmm.
that loads your file tree.
And do we want the whole tree, or do we want some, like, do I want some command, right? Because we know that we can add.
I mean, you could, I wonder, it's like, do you add a grep to it, the command? Because
Right.
Rails is good enough that if you grepped venue on the file tree,
Yeah.
I'd almost like guarantee you'd get everything you want.
Yeah, because in this case, well, we have two parts that are missing, right? One is we didn't add. We still want the controllers for comments, right? Because we need a controller to actually like accept the new comments and that kind of thing.
Yep.
So, um, I guess we could add that to the existing controller for now, and just not do the restful thing for a second. In which case, forget about that. This really is this a grep, or is this really just a find, and for everything you find, call add, right? Like if we're here and we do like find, if I can remember the syntax, it's like find dot name, uh let's say it's like venue. No.
Try just without the percent sign.
Okay. Or is that star?
Yeah,
I
it
thought
might
it
be.
had a weird syntax. There we go.
Oh, okay.
Star. So this is
Ooh, and yeah, you wanted
app.
like,
So it's not dot. It's like app. There we go.
oh yeah, yeah, because you don't want test or migrations is what it ends up just getting rid of.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And so maybe this is like a. So let's just play with this for a second. If we had like some flags to some command, right? And we could say like, oh, give me the views, give me the controllers, that sort of thing. This could do stuff like app views, right? App controllers, right? App test, blah blah blah.
Mhm.
I mean, you could even dial this in to be like uh, venue. Why doesn't that work? Show.
You need
Oh,
an extra
show.
star. No, oh,
Mm,
dot star.
Dot star. Uh, dot star? No, I don't know how this works, but we can ask Claude. Anyway, you get what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah, I see what you mean. But the question is, do we want the LLM to drive or not? Because if we want the LLM to drive, we could just give it that find command and then say something like, what other files do you want to add?
Yeah, yeah,
Or, yeah, I'm curious because Aider does do that weird thing where it's like any message with file, it tries to add it.
right, right.
So I'm curious if you like sent this along, so you could do a slash run and give it this find that like app name venue command,
Yeah,
and it'll put that into the message that it sends off to 8 or 2. And then you could say, hey, we want to add comments to venue page, the
yep.
venue show page. What other files are we going to need to edit?
Right, right. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not really sure. I feel like if we're going to let Aider drive, we want to not like give it a bunch of like give it half the context and then say what other files do you need and then have it just run those files. We kind of want to like pre-prompt it with just like, hey, like here are some files, what other files do you need, let's add those files, let's get it all in context and go back. But I don't know, I'm not sure if I'm just like micromanaging the tokens too much.
Yeah, because it's almost like you almost want, if you wanted to really micromanage the tokens, you have that watcher file create 2 files, one where it's just a list of the file names
Mm-hmm.
and one that's not. And then you could always just be like, here's the dirty, I'm gonna run a find command. Here's just the file system structure.
Mm-hmm.
I added a comment model. What files do you need to modify the show? And then you're like really micromanaging. You'd like that is less than probably it's probably just a couple hundred tokens there.
Mm-hmm.
But you still incur the aider system prompt, which is like 2000 on there,
Right.
just for this simple kind of query. Uh, yeah, I don't know which way do you kind of prefer? Do you want to try and figure out a way to add all the context correctly the first time without even contacting Aider?
I mean, kind of. I kind of want to see how good we can get it, right? I think this is where Rails, I think, will be helpful, like the conventions, because we can pretty easily predict. Like, I don't know. I think there's something there with our ability to like find the files and add them. Though I'm not sure. I think we should really compare these two different approaches at some point. So I think we should just pick one now. And I'm sort of tempted to, since we've done the Git thing,
Yeah.
and now we're saying, okay, we'll lean on generators. We can easily add those into context. Now I want to have like another command to to
Search for an
to
ad.
search an ad and then see how far that gets us. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah. So really, I feel like you want to take this find command and generate another like load file.
Yeah, that's interesting. Okay, so I'm like, I run the command and it basically like it's
So you create another script, but this one
yeah.
isn't like always running in the background.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost an alias for this find command.
Mm-hmm.
And you type venue and it gives you like just this output in a file with ads next to it. And
Yep.
then you have to like edit that file and then load it.
Right. Okay. We can start there. And this is something I guess I could just call within Aider that really doesn't have any output, right? And then I'm just thinking about like the ability to
Yeah.
not have to switch windows every time I want to do this.
Yeah, you could
Um,
have it run and not produce any output. No standard out, and I don't think Aider will do anything.
right. Okay. Hold on, bear with me 1 second. I just need to check and see how much time I have left. Can you give
All
me
right.
1 second? All right. I'm good till 11 if you are. That's 25 minutes.
I am good till 11. The other thing I was thinking about too is we build a couple of these commands, and then I think it would be trivially easy to add these commands to Aider and just run it from source then.
Okay. Yeah.
Like then because Claude and things like that work pretty well on modifying Aider, and a lot of these things will just be simple, like create a new command that runs something is pretty straightforward.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So I want to go with this approach. So do you want to stay here? Stay in this context for Claude?
Yeah, and you can give it that find command.
Yeah. So let's work on the prompt. Go for it. I'll scribe.
Uh, Actually, I'm wondering, you want to run it from Aider. I almost wonder if this is just a simple command line tool. Because what I'm thinking about is one of the pains in the ass is then you'd have to review the output,
Yeah.
right? You'd still have to review the output, and you almost want like a like how Aider does it, where it's like, do you want to add this file? Yes, no. Like the
Mm.
output of the command being like yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. And
Mm-hmm.
so I wonder if it is a separate, we start with a separate command line script
Mm-hmm.
that you run, and then it just asks you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, and then when we get to the point where we want to bring it inside Aider, it's real simple to bring it inside Aider, and we just,
Yeah.
you know.
Okay.
So, so I think we say,
And so, real quick though, we do we want to keep this? I like that. Do we want to keep this in Python? Thinking like if we want to pull it into Aider, Aider's Python just makes
I
sense.
think Python then makes sense, especially if we're gonna just try and bring it into Aider real simply.
Okay. All right. Cool. Let's do it.
So in Python, create a command line script. I want to call it a script still and not a program because I want it to stick to a single thing. Uh, we probably want to be explicit and say don't use any command line
Like libraries.
libraries because we want it to use the same as Aider. I mean, we could look up what command line libraries Aiders use. Yeah, just leave it as don't use any command line libraries. Create a command line script. Don't use any command line libraries that runs the command. And does find doesn't respect get ignored, does it?
I don't think so. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I know like I think ag and rip grep and all those tools do, but I don't think, and I don't know if you can use those tools to just return file. No, I mean that's searching the contents of the file. That doesn't make
Yeah, yeah.
sense.
Let's leave it up to Python. We can always guide it. I
Okay.
mean, leave it up to Claude and we can guide it. That accepts a folder name and a search string and returns, and writes to a file.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no. Wait.
Yeah.
Takes in folder name and a search string and searches through the current directory and subdirectories. Current directory and subdirectories. Actually, and modify that and say that searches through the folder name and its subdirectories.
Through the specified
Folder name
and its subdirectories. Specified folder name
and its subdirectories. It should prompt the user to accept each file, and each file accepted should write to a file. A file accepted should write to
should be written to a file dot aider dot
find context.
Sure.
Or find context. All right. Let's just
with
read this.
/add file name, right?
Yeah. In Python, create it's a folder and string. I mean, you could give it the next dot and say it should operate like below this. Don't use any. It should operate like, and then give it the find command that you gave.
And so this is like find like okay. So like
one is
given. So what do we want the?
I don't even think you need to write too much more. I think you literally put it should operate like and put that find command in and hit enter.
Okay.
And you're gonna be good enough, and we could
but do we want that one or we want just like a dumber one like
the first one?
This one?
Yeah.
Like that?
Yeah.
So we got.
And just see what it says, because it's gonna be easier to just have it take stuff out and in.
Yeah. Okay, so aider, find, folder, name, content, interesting. The script will search for files in a specific folders.
Okay. Why is it giving two different ways to do it?
Well, it's gonna use find and it's gonna like ack or something like that. So it's basically like, okay, you guys are thinking too slow for me here. Like, let's do the next step also while we're here. Because search by name, search by content.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Is binary user. Okay.
All right. So I almost want to say, screw it, let's run it. Just run it,
Okay,
and
cool.
let's see if it works.
All right. What's the name of this thing? This is.
And they even renamed it .aider.find by. Oh, no. They didn't put the dot in front.
No. Find.
Call it dot. Add a dot in front of there.
Yes, we'll do. Aider dash find. So we'll do pb paste dot aider dot. What did we say? Find.
Or
aider
dot
find.
aider dash find or
find dot py.
Yeah.
Oh shit! Sorry. Okay, and so
chmod
plus x dot aider find. Okay.
I'll run it with
Find
venue.
So what was it? Was it directory first? What?
Dash
Yeah,
name,
directory
right?
first. So we want to say app, and then
Wait,
we'll,
wait, what do you? Oh, it does have a okay directory and then
yeah,
dash name
directory dash name
venue.
venue. Mm. Wah, wah.
Yeah, you put
Oh,
parentheses.
I didn't. I'm supposed to put the stars in.
Okay,
Uh,
12 include venue location.
okay, so we're doing content.
No,
No, no, no. Venue sitemap. What the hell? Oh, right. I forgot I did that. Venue website. No. Venue page. No. Venue. Yes. Venue description. No. Venues controller. Sure. Right. Because we're just gonna put the comment handling in there for now.
yeah, maybe. Yeah,
No. Venue. No.
is it
Sure.
not going to have the index
Yeah,
because
that's not good.
it searches the name?
But why? Why didn't I pick that up? It should be app view venues.
Yeah, 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 because it's just searching the name match, not the path match.
Oh. Okay, so we want to change this.
Yeah.
Um, okay. Update the script to
Wait,
find.
does content, maybe the content is actually what you want because the content might not be inside. It might not be referring to file contents. It might be
Okay,
referring to path contents.
let's look. Okay, so
Oh,
search by
does it load
content,
it?
folder, search.
Oh, no, 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 it does. It is trying to do a like a rip grep type thing.
Yeah, where is
Right,
that
so
happening though? File, because it's
dot
doing
read, yeah.
content. If search string n, yeah, I see.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So look, just go up and tell it to modify the name to search the whole path.
Okay. Uh, modified the script. Um, make search by name. Search the full path, not just the file
The full relative path, dude.
name.
We'll see because it might.
Stopped it. The relative path. Is that what you meant? Or is that what you said?
Yeah, yeah. Because right, like we don't want it to be like, hey, for some reason, if you search for something,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah, I should have said the full relative path, but that's fine.
yeah, no, relative
Um,
path in this case. All right,
allows more
it,
specific like models. User.
yeah. The
Okay.
question is also, does it rewrite the file, or does it?
Um,
It ends always. We want it to rewrite the file each time, maybe.
oh yeah.
Let's see. Let's see
Um,
if the file changes when we rerun it
okay.
instead of asking it or figuring it out.
So
Like,
let's let's there's a way pb paste. Isn't there a way to like blow away? Did I copy that to blow away the file? Aider find. I can't remember. One of these is append. Let's
that looks like an append.
that does look like an append, doesn't it? Let's see if we can run. Let's see if this does the right thing if I do that. mvem.aider find. Yeah, that did the right thing.
Okay. And so let's just double check cat out that file that should have been produced.
Aider dot find context.
Yeah.
Okay.
And now let's run it again
Yeah.
and run it with venue and add the ones and see if it doubles up or something.
So
If we
now let's see if we can get a little bit.
No, no, no. Let's
No,
just
just
rerun
run
this.
this?
We
Okay.
also get
So 24 matches.
okay, more matches. What was the last one? Oh, 12 matches last
Yeah.
time.
So no, yes, no, no, yes, no. There we go. There's index.
Yeah.
We actually want the show.
Oh.
No, not the JBuilder.
Are you using the JBuilders at all even?
No, they think no.
Yeah, it's just
I think it just comes along with a scaffold. I think I scaffolded that page. Show, yes. Form, no. No. Venue, I don't think so, but I'll just add it. Happy hour, index, no. So this is obviously a little annoying. We can dial this in. But happy hour venue show, no. And then venue helpers, I don't know, maybe. So now we want to cat
add it. Yeah.
that file.
Okay, so
And
redid
did the
it.
right thing.
All right. So how could we make this less annoying?
Well, one, I think we could just get better at the match here, right? Because like if I called this with like I could target this a little bit better, right? I could do app views and then app controller, right? And like because right now I'm just searching for it's a lot.
So my other wonder is whether a yes no is as fast as a numerical, like if it just listed all 24 and was just like had them all listed with their numbers and you were just like 1 comma 2 comma
Mhm.
13 enter
Yeah.
is faster.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we can dial that in. I think we can lean on this. See how good it is. Because like in this, let's just talk about our problem at hand. What do we need? We need the show. We need the routes. We need the show, and we need the controller. Really,
Yeah.
right? Because we've scaffolded up the model. But I think the thing, yeah, I mean, part of it is like how generic do we want to make the tools, and versus like, oh, we know we're in a Rails app, right? Like we could say we're doing view stuff, and so we're doing view stuff. There's some sort of like dash dash dealing with the front end. And then you know that you're going to need potentially routes, controllers, and views that match this slug, right?
I think we do it for ourselves. So for Rails specifically, because I think many other frameworks will have the same concepts,
Mm-hmm.
but it'll just be like slight tweaks to make it work for them. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because like we want to do as little work as possible. How about
Right.
that? Like let's make it so we do as little work as possible. And then for some reason, if we like open source this or like put it out, then some Django developer or Next.js developer can be like, oh, if I want to like dial it in and be like, just search for view related stuff, I can do it here or this way or that way.
Right.
So I think we do dial it into Rails for
Yeah.
now.
Okay. Yeah, so I think let's think about that because we're running out of time. I want to actually see it do something.
Yeah.
So, for right now, if we have some context here, like let's actually run this and get Ader to actually do something with all this, and then let's talk about like what is the next step? Where do we take this next? Does that sound reasonable?
All right. So yes, I want to say open your Ader config and add both these files, the find context file and the other to the load,
Yeah.
because then we can work on the command line. And then when you jump into Ader, you have everything pre-populated.
Yeah. Okay. So we're gonna kill
Okay.
Ader.
Open Ader config.
Ader config YAML. So
And
there's
then go to the load. Yep.
that's this one, right? Why don't I have any? Oh, because they're in file.
Yeah. And so you want it like that. So you load colon and then do a next line and tab. And a dash. And you do Ader dot whatever, find context and the other one.
Yes, this is dot Ader. Let's see, ls Ader
Find context is one, and the
find
other is
context.
dirty.
Yeah. Dot aider, and so we want find context.
Get dirty.
And get dirty.
No spaces.
And this was aider dot get
Dirty, no spaces. Yeah.
like that. Okay, so now if we close this and we run aider. What did we mess up? Oh, can't.
Load can't be set to a list. That's annoying. Is it really not? I thought I had more than one. 1 second. Let me look at my load command.
Unless the action type is changed to append or nargs is set to star. What does that mean?
Oh, I did just have it as one.
But what's action type set to append? Let's look at.
I feel like that's just like within Aider itself. New window. Aider.
Yeah.
Wait, let me see that error message again. Can't be set to a list unless its action type is changed. Action type is changed. Is it really not showing up? They managed to dynamic that a lot. Load can't be set to a list. I think this is a generic. Yeah, because when I'm grepping the whole repo of Aider, I'm not getting.
Yeah. Okay, let's come back to this problem. Let's just load it the other way.
I mean, you can load the get dirty at least. Add the get dirty to it.
Okay.
And then we can load the other one.
So we'll delete that like that.
Space in there probably.
So aider. All right, that's cool. And then we'll say load get find aider get find aider dot
find context.
Not shit. I
You already did that.
Find context.
Yeah,
find context.
Which,
All
by
right.
the way, their fuzzy file search kind of sucks. Have you noticed that?
No, what do you mean?
We'll see. And on the command line, when you're like, their kind of file completion, whatever API they're using.
I have noticed that. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't thought too much about it, but it's like, I don't know why it's not picking the things I would think it is picking. Yeah. All right, let's see it happen. We only have a few more minutes. Let's double check. We have our controller. Oh, we didn't add our route, so we got to figure that out. So add config. This is what you're talking about. Add config routes. Okay.
Okay. So the one thing before, like the last thing before we kick this off, I do think there is something to loading a almost full file structure.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe a handful of important things like maybe the routes file is always loaded.
Yeah. Which it kind of. Oh, actually, let's just look at our routes real quick because of Jumpstart.
Yeah.
Okay, so it does do a decent job, Jumpstart, of like moving stuff into. And this is another thing though, because it's like moving stuff into other files, so we kind of have to deal with that if we follow that convention. But at least it's out of the way right now.
All right. Anyway.
All right. So we've got mostly what we want. I'm curious if we tell it specifically to add the comment handling to the venue controller, or if it will just automatically do it since it's in context, or if it will try to like create
a new file.
Should we just see what it does?
Yeah. Let's see what it does.
All right. Let's see. My prompting has kind of sucked recently, so you again drive here. I want to see how you would specify this.
All right. We currently have a comment model. and we would like to list and create comments on the venue show page. Wait, let me just think about this for a second. We currently have a comment model, and we would like to list and create comments on the venue show page. I'm trying to think if we should mention anything else. No, not yet. Yeah, I would just go with this.
Just go it. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see what you got. Need some like hold music.
Yeah. Do, 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 do. Or you need like, you know how they have the game on like Chrome with the 404 page?
Yeah.
Like you need like a click game while this is going on that you're just like, let's see how many I can get before the time runs out.
Totally. Yeah. All right. So we can't. Oh, this is interesting though.
Whopping 9 cents.
9 cents, but it's interesting because usually I've been using the get dirty as like what did you do. I guess what I should have done was added those files, stage the files, and then run this, because since we're using get dirty to give it context.
Well, let's just real quickly, I know you have to go, run through what got edited to see, because we should generally know what needed to happen.
Yeah. So should we just look at this view?
Yeah. Let's just run through this view because you can come back to this later.
Yeah.
But
so we got
okay.
our so validation, and we got a default scope of created at
venues controller, show comments, venues show, post a comment. So it does have a form with. That's interesting because we haven't seen a controller for that.
Yes. So where is this posting to? So yeah, haven't seen the controller, but it's posting to a comments controller, right? That's what this is going to do. Yeah, venue comments.
And you did give it the routes file. Let's look at the routes file.
Resource comments only create. Okay. Comments controller. So it did return a diff for a comments controller, even though the file doesn't exist.
Which Aider should actually ask if you want to add a comments controller.
Yeah. Okay. So let's see what happened there. But here we have a create. That's fine. It does the turbo stream. That's cool. Oh, look at this. It has a turbo stream partial.
Yeah. For the create. So it should, when you're on the venue page and you give a comment,
yeah,
it should replace the comment in that without a refresh, and shouldn't take you somewhere else.
Love it. Love it. And then, okay. So down here, we're looking at the venue show. So we have a new comment and the ID for the turbo stream.
And comments.
And comments. Okay.
And a test. And that's it.
And a test. Now, do I want to add? Now it's asking me if it's doing this dumb thing that we know about, where it's like, oh, you're talking about a file. Do you want to add it? So it would say no, right? Create new file. Yes. Yes. Run the shell command. So let's see. What did it do?
It did create a test, didn't it? Comment test.
It did create the test. Now, what I haven't gotten into, and really is, I think, and let me just throw this out there for a second. We've talked a lot about Rails and like, is Rails a good, application or a good framework to build on with LLMs, being that there's so many examples of other frameworks, right?
Yeah.
I don't know the answer to that, but what I will say is that having a single application where it's doing the like server side rendering, like it just, all in one process, I think is going to be a huge advantage, because if we also get it to write acceptance tests, right? Like whatever, like browser based tests, right? And it could run that. And then if something blows up, Like Rails is going to do a pretty good job of actually rendering like on the page the error, as
Yeah.
opposed to if you had like front end, back end separate like stacks, and then like maybe that error doesn't make it through your JavaScript API onto the page, whereas in Rails, I think it could do a good job. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. You just want to stick with Rails conventions as much as possible. And
Yeah.
with the module we added and the jump start, I worry that that would screw with it.
Yeah, maybe. So what do we want to do? We want to run the test. Should we just like migrate and try the feature?
Yeah, yeah.
Let's do that. So I'm going to just come over to here. We're gonna bin Rails DB migrate, and then we're gonna load the page. All right. So, and this is exactly what I'm talking about. Like if it
Yeah.
were running the tests, again, it's sort of interesting because I don't know if it's like adding the entire markup of this page back into Aider, or maybe we do some like LLM readable text type thing. There's something there.
So, but this is a quick fix to see if everything else is working.
Yeah.
Just go to venue model, and I think it's just missing a has many.
Sure. Okay. Venue has many
Comments.
has many
I'm pretty sure that's all.
comments. If we had more time, I'd want to like feed this back in. Comments, sign in. All right. Do I even have an account here?
I'm kind of surprised that it had that sign in necessary.
Yeah, I think I might have to sign up. Just putting my email out on the internet. Whatever. I don't care. Okay. This is annoying. I hate this, like...
And it's not necessarily confirmed or something, and you might have to do that in the console.
I think there is... Come on.
And it might be because it's not confirmed.
Confirmed, yeah. Spin Rails C. So this is like user dot last jumps no, and then it's what user dot confirm.
Yeah.
Confirm user dot errors.
Already confirmed. Try again. All right, just maybe try log in again real quick.
Didn't I say password BASSWRD? Oh god.
Oh, your password's invalid. Somehow it didn't. It didn't like
we're gonna do this one more time. Birdbrain 3. LE3 at bird.
I can take her in 2 seconds. I'm done.
Yeah. Okay, and then we're gonna say haps is the password. Sign up. Too short. Haps. Great. Okay, that was annoying. Venue. I'm on a venue page. Add a comment. It's interesting that it's here twice.
Why is it there twice?
I don't know. Let's post. Look at that. That's cool though.
Everything worked. Let's just double check why it had 2, because I'm curious now.
Yeah.
That file.
And so this is venue show. This is down here in the comments. Form. It's interesting. If user.
Oh, it has it twice for some reason.
It has it
New
twice.
comment.
Yeah.
Did it go back to the thing that had Aider? I wonder if it had the search replace wrong.
Let's look. So here we are at the show. It's interesting. Look at this. comments didn't exist, but it's saying search for this. So we've already done some round of edits or something, right?
Yeah, maybe. Go up further.
Show routes here. Oh, venue show. That's interesting. In the same,
It's trying to do multiple like changes in one, and that's what screwed it up.
yeah, it's interesting. So it does. It's like it's almost like an iterative approach where it's saying do this, then come back, and now change some bit in
Yeah.
here to this.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
All right. I
Okay.
gotta go though.
Yeah.